Okay, remaining topics of chapter atom are covered here. This is your Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment, also known as Giger-Martin experiment. Giger and Martin both were associate professors of Rutherford, those who were working with Rutherford. So this is experimental setup of Giger-Martin experiment. It's quite important. It is being asked in exam. So this is your lead block, which will contain radioactive material because alpha ray is a radioactive ray. Now alpha rays are coming. First of all, they are being passed through this blue collimator. Collimator makes a fine beam. This fine beam is incident against this gold foil. This orange is gold foil. Okay. After that, obviously alpha particles will be scattered like this or like that, whichever way. Okay, and the whole setup is enclosed in a vacuum chamber, and there is zinc sulfide skin on which deflected alpha particles will be observed through a electron microscope. So this is experimental setup. You can draw it easily like this, the way I draw. Simply this is my lead cavity in which radioactive sources there, alpha particles are coming. Now they are being passed through a collimator, then the alpha rays are falling on a gold foil, then some are reflected back or some are passing straight or deflected through certain angles. Then the whole setup is enclosed in a vacuum chamber, and there is zinc sulfide screen. You can write zinc sulfide screen, and it is observed through a electron microscope. Okay, proper diagram is that or this simply, but you'll have to label properly, like it is lead cavity, radioactive source, alpha ray, collimator, gold foil, zinc sulfide screen, and electron microscope. Achha, this diagram is also very important. If the experiment will come, you'll have to draw this as well. So you can see few of the alpha particles, or you can say most of the alpha particles are passing straight, that we know. So most of the alpha particles are passing straight. You can see so many straight lines are there, and very few are deflected through large angle. This is the one which is deflected through large angle, and there are few which are deflected through small angles. Okay, that diagram is to be drawn. Now let us come to observations and calculation. Observation, most of the alpha particle pass straight. Most of the alpha particle pass straight, and then the corresponding conclusion. What does it mean? That most of the space inside the atom is empty. Some of the alpha particles were deflected by small angles. Alpha particles were deflected by small angle. It means there is positive charge inside the atom, and that is occupying very less space. Now few alpha particles bounced off means they came back. They retraced their path. It means positive charge is very strong wherever it is. It is concentrated, it is in a very small volume, it is dense, but it is powerful. So these are the observations and corresponding conclusions. Moving further, this is a better diagram where you can see the scattering of alpha particles through a gold atom. So you can see here distance of the alpha particle is large, so it went straight. Here also distance is large, so second number particle also went straight. First number went straight, second number, and similarly third number and fourth number. They were quite far, so they went straight. Okay, now those who were near, let me change the color and then see. Yeah, this number 3 ray is quite close. Quite close means little closer, so it is getting deflected. This is even closer, so it is getting deflected by larger angle, and this is even closer to even larger angle. So as you will come closer, you will be deflected. The alpha particle will be deflected through larger angles, and those who are at a distance, they will be deflected through small angles. Who are close will be deflected through large angles. So this kind of diagram you can draw. That's very important, and corresponding graph. This is also very important in this experiment. Experimental setup. In this topic, experimental setup is important. Experimental setup is important. This is important, and this graph is quite important. You can see in the graph, it is a graph between number of scattered alpha particles against angle of scattering. Angle of scattering, that is theta. So what is to be observed? The shape is hyperbolic. What does it mean? It means you can see here angle is small. So those who are getting deflected by small angles are very large. particles who are getting deflected by small angles are very large. That means atom is mostly empty. Now those who are getting deflected by large angles, है ना, here it is 160, 180, such angles are written, those particles are very small, है ना, those particles are very small. So this is to be written. That what do we infer from this graph, what do we understand from this graph? That the alpha particles which are getting scattered by smaller angles are very large, and the alpha particles which are getting deflected by larger angles are very small. We're getting further. Next topic we have distance of closest approach. So from the name itself it is clear how close you can go. Alpha particle can go this much close to the nucleus. Beyond this point it has to come back. So this point and center of nucleus, this distance is called distance of closest approach. Okay, you can see clearly in this diagram, alpha particle is directed toward the nucleus. Alpha particle is positively charged. It is having a charge of plus 2e. And nucleus is also positively charged because protons are there. So its charge is plus Z. Z is atomic number. Okay, that is number of protons. So that is the charge on nucleus. Okay, both are positively charged. So alpha particle, we have given some velocity. So alpha particle is moving, moving, moving. Up to here it can move. After that it has to come back because of electrostatic repulsion. Both are positively charged and nucleus is so highly positively charged. So this distance, the distance between this point where it stopped and came back, distance between this point O and this center O dash, this is called distance of closest approach. From where alpha particle is going back, from there till the center of the nucleus is called distance of closest approach. This distance is called distance of closest approach. You can denote by R or you can denote by R naught. Now what alpha particle was sent, it was going towards the nucleus. It stopped here and it came back. What does it mean it stopped here? It stopped means kinetic energy turned entirely into potential energy. So kinetic energy of alpha particle turned into potential energy. Potential energy of whose? Potential energy is always of two things. So of alpha particle with respect to nucleus. So don't write it is converted into potential energy of alpha particle. No, potential energy of alpha particle with respect to nucleus. So kinetic energy of alpha particle is written here. Potential energy formula we have done in chapter electrostatic. It is K Q1 Q2 by single distance. So that is what I've written, K charge on alpha particle, charge on nucleus divided by single distance. So you can see R will come here as R will come there. R will come this side and kinetic energy alpha will come down. You can put the charge on alpha particle as Q2e and charge on nucleus you already know as Ze, so you can multiply. Okay, so this, if you wish, you can open alpha particles kinetic energy as half mv square. This is the expression for distance of closest approach. Simple. Kinetic energy changes into potential energy of alpha particle with respect to nucleus. Okay, now coming to the next topic which is important, it is impact parameter. What is impact parameter? It is a distance. For example, we have released alpha particle like this orange. We release alpha particle like this. So what is this? This is initial velocity vector of alpha particle. This is initial direction and we will call it initial velocity vector of alpha particle. And this is center of nucleus. Now this is central line of nucleus. This line, this lower line is central line of nucleus. Central line of nucleus. Okay. Now whatever is the perpendicular distance between this line and this line, yani ki whatever is the perpendicular distance between initial velocity vector of alpha particle and central line of nucleus, this is called impact parameter denoted by B. Okay, and this is an important diagram in which you are showing the impact parameter. Here the alpha particle is going like this. Let us change the color and observe. Alpha particle is going like this. Now it is deflected by some angle because nucleus is positively charged. Nucleus is saying go away, don't come near me. So by how much angle it gets scattered, that is called angle of scattering. You have to show this theta in this diagram, and then this is one more diagram in which you can see this is your initial velocity vector and this is your central line of nucleus. The perpendicular distance called impact parameter. This is scattering angle. Okay, we'll have to memorize the formula of impact parameter, which is this. Simply memorize it. Now what is the importance of impact parameter? This is important, we have to learn. See, what is impact parameter? It is a perpendicular distance of alpha particle from central line of nucleus. Okay, if the distance will be large, obviously you will go straight. Obviously particle will, so if B is large, B for impact parameter is large, then the particles will suffer less deflection and mostly they will go straight, theta will be less. theta will be less, they will go straight. Straight means 0 degree, 0 degree means less angles. So if B is infinity, if you are going too much far from nucleus, then nucleus cannot say anything to you because you are too far, so you can go straight. So theta is 0. Straight means 0 degree. Now if B is less, if you are going this much close, this is nucleus, and you are going from here, alpha particle is going from here, then it has to be deflected by very large angle. And if you are coming like this, then you have to go back. If you are coming exactly along the center line of nucleus like this, then you have to go back. Go back means 180 degrees. So if B is 0, impact parameter is 0, there is no impact parameter, then you have to go back. It means retrace the path. It means angle of scattering will be 180 degrees. Then we have the next topic, Bohr's quantization condition of angular momentum. Angular momentum is denoted by L, that we have done in class 11th. Okay, now what is according to Bohr's quantization condition? Basic thing that we start with is this statement, that a circular orbit can be taken as a stationary energy state, stationary orbit, fixed orbit, only if it contains integral multiple of de Broglie wavelength. Integral multiple of de Broglie wavelength. So any orbit you will consider as stationary if there are integral multiple of de Broglie wavelength, 2 waves, 3 waves, 4 waves, 5 waves, not 5.5, 5 waves, 6 waves, like those only will exist. Those are only stationary orbit. That is what he has said, and you can make this diagram. Okay, now what does it mean? It means circumference is accommodating n times of de Broglie wavelength. Either 1 wavelength, 2 wavelength, 3 wavelength, but n times. So circumference is accommodating n wavelengths. Okay, circumference can be written as 2 pi r, that we know. N times of wavelength is n lambda, and also we know de Broglie wavelength can be written as h by mv. H by momentum is open as mv. So let us substitute here this value lambda, we will substitute here. So 2 pi r is equal to nh by mv. Now mv we will bring this side and 2 pi we will bring down. So mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. And what is mv? Mv is momentum. Now momentum into perpendicular distance or momentum into radius becomes equal to your angular momentum. So angular momentum is obtained as this. So this means angular momentum is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. It means angular momentum is quantized. Okay, then this topic was left out of this chapter, spectral series of hydrogen atom. Okay, last topic that we have seen in part 1 video was expression for wave number. It came as Rydberg's constant within bracket and 1 by n1 square and 1 by n2 square, lower energy state square and minus higher energy state square. So if electron jumps from, this is easy and one can easily memorize and understand. If the electron jumps from second, third, fourth or any high to 1, from second, third, fourth or any higher energy state to 1, then we get Lyman series. Okay, and formula of wave number for this series will be 1 by lambda, Rydberg's constant. Where are you landing? You are landing to 1 from either 2 or 3 or 4, and this series lies in ultraviolet region. This is usually asked in exam. Okay, similarly you have to do for Balmer series. In Balmer series you will land to 2 from any other higher, third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh, like that, so on. So you can see the expression for Balmer series wave number as well. You are landing to 2 and you are landing from any higher orbit which is more than 2, having principal quantum number more than 2, and it lies in visible region. Similarly Paschen series, it goes like a symmetry. You can learn it easily, but order needs to be maintained. Okay, Paschen series lies in infrared region. You'll have to memorize for all. Bracket series, so it is going by a scheme, so all can memorize. In bracket series you will be landing up to this from any other higher, and this lies in infrared region. Similarly P-Fund series. Okay, after that we have this thing, the general expression for energy that we have obtained in part 1 video is this. Okay, here we calculated everything, and Z we kept as 1 for hydrogen. Hydrogen atomic number is 1. So when we kept everything, every like electronic charge is open as 1.6 into 10 to minus 19. Z is open as 1. K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, whose value is 9 into 10 to 9. And mass of electron we substituted, pi square we substituted. Then we calculated this value came as minus 13.6. Let us see, minus 13.6 upon n square electron volt. Electron volt means it is not potential. Electron Q into V means W. Okay, it means it is energy. So this is the energy of electron in nth orbit. So you can see if you have to report the energy into SI unit, then you can convert it like this. Electron volt can be converted into joules by multiplying with this term, 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19. Okay, so this is a general expression. A general expression for energy in nth shell is given by minus 13.6 upon n square electron volt. So when I am putting n1 and 2, you divide and you will get similarly E3, E4 and E5 up to 5 values. You can memorize, it's good for you. Okay, then coming to these two terms, there are two terms that we need to deal with. Simply for memorization, excitation energy. Excitation energy means energy required by the electron to jump from ground state to any excited state. From ground state to any excited state. So this is easy. For example, first excitation energy. First excitation energy will be equal to your jumping to 2 from ground. Ground is 1. So it's E2 minus E1. E2 I told you can calculate. We have the general formula E is equal to minus 13.6 upon n square electron volt. So put n in n is equal to 2 and whatever you get you write here. Similarly put n is equal to 1 and whatever you get you can write there here. So you will get first excitation energy, but keep in mind it is coming in electron volt. Now coming to second excitation energy. Second excitation energy means you are jumping to third. Okay, from ground. So similarly you can obtain this, and we have excitation potential. Now excitation potential is the amount of potential required. In previous topic we had excitation energy. So that was energy required to excite an electron from a higher state to a higher state from ground. So here we require a potential, the potential required. And how to calculate? So you have already calculated first excitation energy of electron, which was it was you are jumping to E2 and from E1, right? So it came as you can see here it came as 10.2 electron volt. You simply divide it by electronic charge, yani ki E cancelled, so this is the potential. And why are we doing so? Because it is equal to this. W is your energy means excitation energy, and Q is E. You simply remove E symbol from excitation energy, you will get potential. Similarly, we have ionization energy that we know, we have done in chemistry, the amount of energy required to knock an electron completely out of atom. Completely out of atom, if you are taking out, it means you are sending to infinity. So this is your ionization energy, E infinity minus E1 from ground state, suppose. So E infinity is 0. Why it is 0? Because energy is minus 13.6 upon n square. When you will put here infinity, it will come 0. So this is 0 minus first energy, ground state energy, you know. So this is your ionization energy for hydrogen. Similarly, ionization potential. So I already told you, whenever you have energy, you simply divide it by electronic charge or whichever question charge it is. So this is the relation. Remove E symbol, so you will get this ionization potential. Okay, in this chapter there are certain theoretical topics that you need to prepare, like Thomson's model. Okay, so everyone's model you have to prepare. Thomson's model, Bohr's model, their limitation, their failure. So these are the topics that you need to prepare. Thank you.